Zoom recording. All right, if you're here today, thank you. All right, cool. All right, I think this is good, right? You guys can see me. All right, good. Good morning. All right, let me get our presentation up, and I forgot about that. And we will share that bad boy. All right, today's topic is how to build a team that supports your success. Let me go up here. And you guys should be able to see. There you go. Should be able to see the screen. Everything should be here. If you have questions, by the way, while you're here, if you can't hear me, please put the chat. We'll see. You guys let me know. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the David's Deep Dive. This happens every Tuesday. If you guys want to join in, or want somebody else to join in, share this with a friend, family member, somebody you love about. This is a good event every week that I'll be putting on, hopefully to get you more engaged. All right. There you go. So how to build a team that supports your success. It's a big topic. So who needs a team? Anybody know who needs a team? Who needs a team? Everybody needs a team. Why don't I see the? Everybody needs a team. It's important. Now, you can think about a team in business. It's pretty interesting, right? Most people think about teams as the people they work around. People, maybe if you go to school, maybe it's a football team, basketball team. A team in anything is more important than just one person. If a team goes far, an individual goes fast, and you want to go together. So that's the team. Now, if you're watching this and you're wondering who's this for, this could be for a leader in any organization. Maybe you're a leader in a church. Maybe you're a leader in a business. Maybe you're a leader at school. Maybe you're trying to run a program or something going on in the community. This is important for you because if you understand this concept, what it does, it helps to help mold and shape the people around you. Now, before I begin, I want to share something with you. When I created this presentation, I didn't realize how many slides I have. I have 39 slides. I'm not going to be here for an hour and a half. I'm just going to go over the ones that are most important. And if you like what you see or want to hear more about this, think about joining our Path to Freedom, which I'll talk about at the end. And if you are also interested in knowing the answer to today's riddle that I posted on Facebook. All right. So what do you want your team to look like? So what do you want your team to look like? And this is important, right? What does your team need to look like? This is an important thing because when you think about how your team is sculpted or made, what do you want to be known for? Do you want it to be known as, dominating, determined, delivered, creative, responsive, winners? These are all different definitions of a team that you may use. And you've been part of most of these things. You've all been a part of a team somewhere in your life. It could have been at work, it could have been in school, it could have been in a game, it could be outside of work. Today people play extracurricular activities outside of work today. People play in softball leagues and volleyball leagues and baseball leagues and pool leagues and all kinds of leagues that people are engaged in. And so what do you want your team to be known for? And that's really what we need to define. And so that really is your mission and your visions and values. These are the three things that define a team. What's your mission, what's your vision, and what's your values? Now, many people don't understand how important this is in the creation of a team. Because if you don't have these three things, what happens is there's really no shared communication. There's no really shared values. There's no really shared belief system. And because of that, what happens is many of the times people have a different outcome. Some people have an outcome of becoming famous for something. And some people say, well, I just want to get, a trophy. And then some people say, well, I want to be real rich. And some people say, well, I hope we win. And some people, everybody's got a different opinion. And the reason they have different opinions is because there's never been one shared opinion, which is the opinion of a vision, a mission, and the values. Now, a mission is what do you want to do every day? A vision is where you're going. And the values is what you live by each day. And how you act, how you perform, what decisions you make, what you do. Every single day is a value. Again, vision is where you're going, and mission is exactly what it is that you're going to. Right? So when we started our Freedom Company, one of our mission was to create customers for life. Every single day is to generate a customer that will do business with us forever. So think about how powerful that is, because in every interaction, every transaction, every engagement, every conversation, every email, every text, it has to be said, created, curated, developed, engaged in a way that would create a customer that would say, I'll do business with you forever. And our vision was to become the #1 financial services business in the country by 2025. We're 4 years away from that. And how do you define that? Well, I know that the largest 7,000 stores we get. So then our values are transparency, honesty, integrity, communication, health, personal development. These are the values that we live by. We pretty much use these as our guiding rules in our business. So it's very important to have these defined if you want to lead a team. Next thing you need to know is if you have a vision, mission, and values, how many people do you need for your team? Now, this can be dependent upon the type of team you're trying to create. For business, depends on what kind of business you're doing. Or how many people can play, right? Only so many people can be on a team. There can be a lot of people on the bench or in the bullpen, as they call it, but how many people actually need to be on the team? And you can't just have enough people. I've learned that. I learned that over and over again. You know, if you try to, for an example, in our business, we always try to staff more than what we need. Even though that sounds like, I'm not going to say waste, but it sounds like we probably, why would we want to do that? It's because there's always going to be somebody who needs to take the day off, sick, finds a different opportunity. This is a never-ending struggle of every team, right? Just football, baseball, basketball, an injury, sickness, family emergency, kids. All of these things are the things that come out. So if you only have 5 players, right? You have a basketball team and somebody's sick, well, you have to forfeit the game or try to man up, right? Somebody's gonna have to play a little harder. It's just not possible. You can't play on a football team with 5 players. And so the team always has to be a little bit bigger than what you need, but how many do you need? It's a very good definition. So when I meet business owners or I meet people who are trying to build teams, I'm like, how many do you need? I need a lot. I have a number. If you don't have a number, you're just shooting for whatever you can get. And whatever you can get is typically not what you need. So I always preach this, and this I wanted to add, and I'm probably going to skip from here a few more slides, but here's something you should know. In every organization, when you think about building a team, there must be an organizational structure. And every business must have this. I don't care if you're 3 people. It doesn't matter if you're 3, 4, 2 people. There's always somebody, and this isn't to build an authority. This isn't to build some sort of demand cycle or you work for me cycle. This is to show the organization, the structure, and to give everybody a clear definition of where they fit in that structure. Because if people don't know where they fit, it's a very hard thing to do. When I was transitioning from the tax industry to the insurance business, it was like everybody's got to do everything, and we did that for a long time. It just didn't work. Everybody did everything, and you know what? Sometimes we have to do everything. That's not a bad problem to have, but eventually I came to the point where I was like, look, if we intend to make this a serious goal, we need to make sure that we have dedicated people for dedicated positions. And these positions have to be filled. And yes, maybe you'll do more than one position. Maybe you'll be cross-trained. Maybe you'll develop skills that can help in different areas. But at the end of the day, you must have a dedicated position, a title, a role, because people will inherently do whatever they're going to want to do if they don't have a role or definition of their job. And so organizational structure, what it does is it says, look, here's the leader. Here's the second tier, for an example, would be a CEO, C-level executives. Then it would go down to director levels or vice president or president levels. And in a small organization, it could be business owner, assistant, store manager, operator, assistant manager. Those kind of things can be put into place. But if you don't have these as definitions, it doesn't work. Now, I'll add this last thing. This thing should be visual. It should never be, well, we kind of know what everybody is. It should have a visual to it. Defining roles and responsibilities ties with that. Now, I'm going to touch on this because this is important. When you're building a team, you must have a list that says must-haves, because there's an opposite, which is nice-to-haves. And I say this a must-have is because, for an example, I think about basketball, right? And there's a point guard, and there's a post, and there's a few positions, right? Or even in football, there's a lineman. wouldn't want to put your smallest guy on the line. You think it should run over, right? You bulldoze right over because the next guy across him is going to be huge. NFL players are 350 pounds, solid muscle, and they're going to run you over. So when you think about must-haves, you got to think about the position that you're going to have. So a lineman's got to be 350. That's what I'm looking for. Or in business, what skills must they possess? What traits must they have? What the position you're hiring for or looking to build for? What traits, skills, knowledge, expertise must, not nice to have. Some people would say, well, it'd be nice if, they knew how to do, for an example in our business, it'd be nice if they understood QuickBooks. But is that a must-have? Would it be nice if they had an insurance license? Is that a must-have or is that a nice-to-have? It'd be nice if they knew how to, whatever. It doesn't matter. It'd be nice if they knew something. But at the end of the day, is it a must or a nice to? You just find those two very clearly. What happens is you weed out all the people that you're like, well, I kind of like them. Well, it doesn't matter if you kind of like them. If they don't meet the must list, then it doesn't really matter. So how to find the team. I'm going to quickly fly through this. Recruiting is important. Where to start. I'm not going to cover this because we do this during the path stuff. Refer back to your must-haves in any time you're looking for recruits. And I'm going to talk really quickly about this because this is important to anybody building a team. So I've learned over the years, literally I've probably hired and fired 1,000 people, if not more. That's not to brag, I'm just telling you. Had to. Employees come to me with, I call them employees at one point, it's teams today. But employees used to come to me, I remember one of before most of the team members that I have today. I remember going into one of my offices, or my first office. I only had 2 offices. And I go to the office, and I hadn't been in this office pretty much for a while. And we had hired some new people that I didn't really know. And one of these new people was in the back break room, and I walked in to use the restroom. And I'm using the restroom, and I come out, and the guy doesn't know who I am. I definitely don't know if he's a customer or he's an employee because I hadn't met him either. And he looks up to me and he goes, "Hey man, you know where I could go smoke this joint?" Trust me when I tell you, this guy filled a position in our business didn't require a lot of skills. So he was a guy that we paid to hold the sign on the corner, right? You could wear a costume, and that doesn't. I'm not saying they're not skilled, but his position wasn't really screened as heavy as maybe a tax pro or a manager. So he was just temporary. And in fact, that was his first date. So I didn't know him either. He didn't know me, right? So but he goes, "Hey man, you know where I could go smoke this?" And I looked over kindly and I was like, "Yeah, at home, I think, and he says, "No, man, I think we can go in the back." And I'm like, "No, you can go home, man." He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, I'm kind of the boss around here, and you need to get the hell out of here, right?" And so just to be clear, the reason I'm saying this is because I've really gone through a lot of experiences in hiring and firing over the years, from really insane stuff like people asking me how to, if they can go smoke joints, to people who've stolen and taken things from our business, to people who've been rude to our customers, to and then I've also had the opportunity to hire some amazing people over the years that have really been very good to the customers that we serve, to the community that we're involved in. They're committed, they're dedicated, and they're beautiful. So I've had both ends of the spectrum. But when I look for hiring or building teams today, I think about skills versus attitude. See, many people say, well, I want people who have skills, right? I want them to be good at computers. I want them to be good at typing. I want them to be good at writing. I want them to be good at math. I want them to have great communication skills. And I want them to be very excellent in punctuation. I want them to always be on time and stay late. And I want them, and I'm like, okay, look, you want all those things, right? And I'll be honest with you, maybe you'll find one person in the world, but he ain't gonna work for the pay that you're asking for. So you might as well, don't worry about the skills. Like remember what I mentioned, you must have some skills. There's the must-haves. The nice-to-haves are they show up early, stay late. That's a nice, right? People showing up today, must-have, right? That's a big deal, right? People showing up to work, right? I see it all the time. Yesterday or this morning, I was having a conversation with somebody about, dropping their kids off, and they're just like, "Wow, man, like it seems like the lines have gotten like 20 times longer." And I go, well, "Yeah, because like 20% of the people that used to work don't work anymore. So they drop off their kids at school, right? So the lines are going to be longer." So the must and the nice, right? So think about must as being skills. The attitude, though, is the one thing that I'll tell you that you must, if you're looking for teammates, one thing you must look for every day. You see, you can't train somebody to have a good attitude. I've done that. You gotta turn them around. I have had people on my team, but sometimes I feel like I do still have some of those people. Man, I wish I could change their attitude. But you can't change people's attitude. You know, if they are who they are, and that's it. I wish somebody would have gotten to them at adolescence as children and taught them some social skills or built some of their attitude challenges, but they didn't. You know, I've learned that you can coach and mentor children, but you can't coach and mentor adults very hard. They just don't change, right? You just can't teach an old dog new tricks, they say. You try and you can try and you try until you get the electric collar. Then is when you do it. But that's inhumane. Right? You can't do those things anymore. So you might as well just hire for good attitude. Good attitude is an important part of business. It's an important part of things today. So you always hire, train, develop people on your team with a great attitude. How do you define a great attitude? Honestly, it's people who have manners, people who are courteous, people who are willing to engage with you, you know, people who are friendly. Now, you may have all different definitions for those, because I probably do too. But you must know. You know, you can meet people today, and within 3 minutes, you know if they have a good attitude or not. You already know. And you can tell, by the way, when somebody has a poor attitude, you know why they are what they are. All right, screening, we're going to skip that. Tip. This is the tip. And I put pay in here because some of you are probably thinking about team for business. I think that's probably most people are watching this today. Pay is not the only way to build a team. I learned that a long time ago. I wish I didn't know. I wish I would have known that from day one of trying to build a business, trying to build a team. Pay does not build a team. It doesn't. I mean, so think about one of the most famous teams in the world, the Dallas Cowboys. They have the most talented players on the team, the most highest paid talent on a team, and they can't even make it out of the preseason. And the reason they can't is because pay doesn't determine success. It does not say, oh, I'm just going to pay a bunch of the highest paid team players in the football, in the NFL, and we're going to bring them all and we should just win. It doesn't work like that. See, teams are developed not through pay, but through dedication, through commitment, attitude, skills. You can't hire people. You've got it by pay. You've got to hire people to build. And I've learned that actually. It's a hard thing in teams. The best teams are always built. They're not bought. They're built. And you see that every day. You know, who won the Super Bowl this year? Who won it? Tampa. Does anybody who the quarterback is? Am I in the wrong room or what? Anybody here? Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady went from one team to another, didn't take any of his teammates, didn't decide to go and hire the best talent in the world, right? And he won the damn Super Bowl. And that tells you a lot. The guy built a team. You know why? Because leaders come in and they say, you got a good attitude, great. You got a good attitude, great. You got a good attitude, great. Okay, here's the deal. I'm the leader, follow me. In fact, you know, I remember watching a video and it was really funny because leaders are short, leaders are people who are believed in, right? If you look at, you know, the Bible, you look at Jesus, he just followed me. Right? He didn't ask you, what are your skills, what's your attitude, what's going on? And the people who followed were the people that made it. It's exactly what happens in life. So think about it, pay doesn't dictate success at all. All right, creating the team, real quick. This isn't going to be something that happens overnight. This isn't an overnight success. Teams are years in the making. Proof in any team. Any organization will go through years and years, even churches, school districts, businesses. You will notice that it'll take years and years and years of dedication to build a team. And just to preface that, it'll take one day to blow it all up. It's one bad move, it's one leadership change, it's one lack of judgment, and boom, a whole organization will crash over. It's unfortunate, but that's what happens. So building teams is something so sacred. It's something so beautiful, but also something so heinous. It's crazy how that can happen to you. All right. Time is part of the process. When you build a team and you're looking to recruit, you're looking to develop and train, here's what I would tell you. You have to set the right expectations. And I think this is something we didn't do early on in my organization. I think that many people don't do that. And I think big businesses, those who have kind of made it in the world, I'm not going to say made it, but a business that's very successful today, let's like use McDonald's. You know, many people would have their pros and cons for it. But let me just tell you, they make billions of dollars on it. And when somebody gets hired to join their team, they know what they're supposed to do when they don't mess around. They don't say, well, you might have to do this or you might have to do that. You might kind of have to look at the fries and check the meat. No. They train them to A to Z. You're going to do this when this beeps. You're going to do this when this light shines. And by the way, that's how they train today. Right? They don't train by, hey, look at your watch. No, like beeps and sirens and sounds, right? Because people are so stupid today, right? We just can't do it, right? We gotta have cues. Gotta have a cue to get up, right? The alarm wakes you up, right? You know, the farmer used to wake up without an alarm, right? And they used to get up with the sound of a rooster, right? Oh, time to get up, right? Today you gotta have 37 alarms, right? 3 cues, right? What happens? Somebody ask me a question or anything? Let's see who's coming up. Patrick Brady. Oh, okay. Oh, Brady. I was like, all right. So think about all the things that setting the right expectations does for somebody. So it's telling them when they should be there, what they should be doing, what to expect, how long they should expect to be doing that. And trust me, in today's evolving workplace environment, team landscape, everything changes like overnight. In fact, I'm a big believer that every 90 days there's such a technological advancement in everything that it's very hard to keep people up to date, especially if you're working in technology. There's just such an evolution. You can't, I mean, just looking at my Gmail inbox just yesterday, I was looking at it, I'm like, yeah, there's new features, there's new things, there's always something changing. And if you have somebody on your team that just can't handle change or doesn't know how to manage anything, like they're gone in 90 days. 90 days. It's insane how fast things move today. So what I like to do in setting expectations, especially now when we hire, I always tell people, this is a WIT environment, WIT, and that stands for whatever it takes. There is no such thing today. You're going to get hired for this position. I'm going to train you for this position. But just know that some days you may be throwing out the trash, scrubbing the toilet. Some days you may be going outside and helping a customer. Some days, and it's not because I want you to do those things. It's just what we need to do to get the job done. In football, baseball, basketball, every team member is told, hey, look, somebody might get hurt. You have to step up. That's it. Somebody might call in, somebody might be there. It's just what you have to do. You got to make the decision. So setting the right expectations is important. All right, sharing your vision and mission and values at all times is important. Developing people. So I like to think about developing people as coaching and mentoring in anything. So when I look at the greatest teams that have ever been built, it's not necessarily because of talent. It's because they had a great coach, they had a great mentor. And maybe, just to be clear, maybe it's not you, maybe it's somebody outside. Recently, we've brought in several coaches to our team in hopes that I can inspire, enlighten, engage, develop, contribute, and motivate people to do more than what they currently do. And it's not because they're doing so little, it's because there's always more to get done. There's potential not being met in every organization, every team, and that potential needs to be exposed. And typically, the leadership of an organization can expose it directly. And I say typically because only share something so many times with somebody until they become known. Meaning I can only say something so many times until people are just like, yeah, here he goes again, right? That's all it is. So you have to bring in a different voice, and hopefully that voice can share the same or closely aligned vision and mission that will drive success or in that key area. I like to think about it as one of my favorite quotes of all time is, when the student is ready, a teacher will appear. And a student can be taught by so many people. In fact, lessons are learned probably more likely outside of an environment of a team than inside. And the reason they're learned is because they're learned through life experience. They're learned through tragedy. They're learned through health challenges. They're learned through loss of life. They're learned through financial struggles. That's when people learn the most. But if you couple that with a team environment who actually supports and defends and develops those strategies for them, it really becomes a winning situation. I believe in investing in teams, and this is an important part of investments. So if you think about when you have a team, football, baseball, basketball, those teams, they're constantly putting together training camps and boot camps and drills and instructors and coaching and strength coaching. And in business, it's constantly and never-ending learning of technology, improving of social skills, developing sales strategies, building on infrastructure, realignments, and so on and so forth. All of these things are combined, if you will, to develop what we'll call an investment in people. Communication, constantly and never-ending. I think this is the blessing and the curse of an organization or a business or a team. I constantly communicate with everybody, and everybody constantly communicates with me. Blessing and a curse. Blessing and a curse. But it is part of the cycle. You see, I've learned quite quickly that when people don't communicate, they poorly perform. When people don't communicate, they poorly perform. So when I don't hear from somebody for a long time, I know they're not doing their job. And they're not contributing to the team. You know, the job to me is contribution to the team, that everybody can contribute. If you look at just the Olympics recently, I was watching the rowing. And the rowing are in the water, you know, they do those big, you know, rowers, and they're out there and they're using the oars, and they're pulling back and they're pulling back. You know, if one of those rowers, this is off by 1 second, they lose the race. And what I mean by off by 1 second, there could be 2, 3, 4 rowers. And if they're all pulling, they have to pull at the exact same time. They have to do the exact same things. And if they don't do that by 1 second, one of them goes a little faster, one of them goes a little slower. They're going to lose the race. That's a team environment. That's constant communication. And they are so good at communicating that they kind of telepathically know what's going on. Now, later on that week, I watched another Olympic thing, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand why they do it. But they have synchronized swimming. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. But at the same time, imagine those people can't even see each other. And they're synchronized. Like, how do they do it? It's impressive. I don't even know how you grade it. And the judges are looking at, oh, I didn't see anything they messed up. You ever seen that? You're like, I don't know what they saw, but I didn't see it, right? But they have this keen understanding of teamwork at the highest level. Imagine if you can't see each other, you're underwater, you're upside down, you're full, and you're still communicating as a team. That's communication at high level. Engagement, always engaging people, team building exercises. I think that's part of coaching and investing. So building the team that supports your success. Now, let me share something with you, right? Here's something that's important if you want to build a team that supports your success. Always include them as much as possible. This becomes a challenge for most teams as they grow. I've seen that. I'm seeing it right now. It's very hard. The reason early on when you're building a team, you share everything with everybody. Super easy. And I'll tell you why. Because there's not very much going on. When you're small, there's not a lot going on. You know, you have 3 goals that week or that year. As a team evolves, as a company evolves, as goals continue to get larger, it's hard to share everything. And the reason being is really you don't want to distract people. You get distracted very easily. If you're like me, things will just pop out at you, and you're like, oh, I got to pay attention there. I got to pay attention there. I got to pay attention there. And as you do those attentions, or you lose those attentions, what happens is productivity goes down in a team. So sometimes the coach, the leader, the mentor doesn't have to talk about those things, right? Sometimes they have to tone it down. Sometimes they have to keep people focused. But really what it means is including them as much as possible is talking about big moves, talking about changes in the environment, talking about things that we're going to help and to improve, thinking about upcoming events, thinking about things that are always going on in the business that need to be communicated as frequently and as often as possible. This is something I did very early on for the team that we built really strong. And I know it works. Constantly remind them of their vision, mission, and how this will benefit them. This is important too, because when I look at some of the things that I want to do in life, I always think about the team that I've brought with me. I really do. It may not always seem like that because sometimes I've just got to focus, and it's not as easy. And if you become a leader in an organization, a team, even a small team, you'll notice that although you want your team to be successful, you have to focus on you some days. You have to develop your skills. You have to hone down the things that you're working on. But as you grow as a team, they understand that. Everybody understands their role, their significance, and their abilities, their skills, and how they maximize those to support the team growth. And so when you share those visions for people, I want to take you here, I want to deliver this here, I want to grow here, we're going to go here, we're going to get this done, we're going to do this together. And as we do those things, what happens is you build a organization or a structure that supports growth. Be transparent as much as often as possible as you grow. Again, it's harder, but in the beginning stages of any team, you should always be transparent with what's going on, when things are going to happen, where people are going to be, what revenue is being generated, what revenue is not being generated, what's going to happen, who's a key player, who are the back people. Test, 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 test. Okay, test, 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 test. Can y'all hear me? I'm gonna put it on this one. Test, 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 test.
Better.
Test.
Yes.
Okay, sorry guys. So let me go back real quick. You go back. So back right here. So be their advocate, push them to do better each and every day. This is an important part of success for most people because if you want to advocate for somebody, it should be somebody on your team and not somebody on the opposing team. Let them fail. Push your team. It may be hard, may not be always the right. It's always the right thing to say. It may not always sound the right way to say it. Sometimes, if they're the right team member, they'll understand. All right, can y'all hear me good? Are we good? All right. So, if you got questions, put them in the chat. Let me share something with you. And when I think back at all the times that I've had to develop or build teams, some of the things that challenged me in the early years, and I had a good story and I lost it. I did. You guys, I don't know what happened with the music and everything. Got me off. So if you got questions, put them in the chat. But here's something. Let me go back here and make sure I got this. Advocates are the team to do better than each day. So, one of the things that I've learned along the ways of building teams is that it is important to be everything, right? You got to be transparent. You got to deliver your vision, your mission, your values. You've got to create an environment of investing in each other. You got to develop each other. You got to deliver at a high level. This is important as leaders. And when I think about all the times that I've had to do that with people, one of the greatest joys is building teams. And one of the craziest parts about building teams is that people will either jump on the train or they get off the train. Like I mentioned, people will quit on their own because if you have a team that's built correctly, people couldn't stand the environment and they just leave. And I've had so many people do that over the years where they just can't handle the pressure. They can't handle the environment. They can only fake it for so long. Like we have people who join our team and they're like, I am so pro personal development and transparency. And I'm so, oh yeah, I love this place. right? They love the team, but they can only fake it for so long, right? And to the point where they're just like, God, I can't have another training. This is just so, why can't we just go get on Facebook all day, right? I mean, that's what I got hired for, right? And they give up, they quit. You know, I can't tell you how many people I've had quit over the years that have just couldn't fit in with our team. They just didn't fit in. They weren't part of the environment, of the culture, the development of people. They didn't understand that investment in themselves and this team is important to me and our development of a successful team. And an engagement in everything that we do. Gosh, I'm trying to remember my story, but I can't get it. Is there any questions? You guys tell me if anything pops up here. So,
but I do got a statement.
Go ahead.
So as I talk to a lot of agents all over the country, one thing I do see often is that when it comes to building teams.
Can y'all hear George, by the way? Just to make sure if not, you have to come this way. Can y'all hear George?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Go for it.
So one thing I hear from agents all over the country is that when I talk to them about building teams, one thing I see very often is that they don't want to change teams either. I see they have the same staff and they tell me they want to do a different direction. They want to start doing insurance. They want to push a different product. Like they see a vision that they want their business going. And when they share that vision with their team calls a lot of shots because they're very good at taxes. They run one part of the business that brings in a lot of revenue. And they're scared to make a change and they listen to their employees and now they got no leverage. And one thing I tell them all the time when I talk to them is you have to make a change somewhere. Like your team needs to have your vision and your values. Like, it's part of your culture you're going to want to have. And if you don't have the culture of change, and if you don't want to talk to your team and you want something different and they don't want to change with you, there's a problem. And it's never going to change if you don't change anything. You have to make that first step. You have to make a small change and eventually the ball will start going.
Well, there's a true statement. What he's saying is that if the team doesn't change, what are you going to do? And some people just don't do anything. Let me actually tell you what I believe on that statement, because I don't actually believe there's a right or wrong there. I'll just say this. The leader has to change before the team changes. So if the leader says, well, I want to change with my team, man. I mean, like they've been around and they get the job done and I really don't want to work. And I really just don't want any change in my life. I love what I do already. I make enough money. I'm okay. There's the problem. The problem isn't the team. The problem's the leader. It's not the team. So if you tell the leader of a team, hey, you got to set the right tone. You got to set the right example. You got to create your vision, mission, and values. You got to share it with them. They got to believe in it. And if they don't do that, it's not the team, it's them. And they need to either get out of the way and put somebody in the driver's seat, or they need to step up and get some leadership skills that are going to advance that company, business, or team. That's it. Real simple, because there's none of this, well, my team is okay, or, I got the right people. That's not true. You never will have the right people. Your team will never be okay. There's a constant, never-ending change cycle that will always happen. There's, 2 certainties in life, or 3 rather, right? Death, taxes, and change. And that's it. And if the leader is not willing to adapt, evolve, grow, advance themselves, then how can they do that for a team? And I've learned that all my life. Like every step of the way, I've learned that in order for life to get better, I got to get better. In order for my team to get better, I got to get better. So when my team sees me traveling, doing something big, going and investing in myself, I used to think people would think, oh man, this guy thinks he's rich. I was traveling, spending all the money, doesn't even work. Hell no, I'm out investing time. I'm growing myself, I'm getting better. I'm making my team better because I'm becoming better. Because every time I get better, every time I advance my skill sets, every time I evolve my mind or my belief system, my directive, everything that changes within me changes my team. It's an advancement of everybody on the bus, right? I mean, if I want my team to get to a certain destination and I've never been there before, let me go figure it out, right? Leaders go first, figure it out, come back and bring the team. That's what happens. And if you don't believe that, what happens is you're like, well, the team, man, well, they know the way. If they knew the way, they'd be the leader. Sucks to say it like that, but if they did, and if you got somebody on your team who says they're the leader and they know the way, we'll give them the opportunity to do it, or they're just arrogant. You gotta get rid of them, one or the other. And it's more than likely arrogance rather than they know the way, because you can only go so far with what you know. And I looked at that so many times. So good statement, George. Any other thoughts? Let's see up here. Any other thoughts or questions, guys? We have quite a bit of people watching. What's that?
Nothing.
So here's the answer to the riddle today, by the way. The riddle was, what has, crap, I don't remember what it said. No feeling, or no. Yeah, let's read that real quick. I should have put a transition slide and I didn't.
Everyone has them.
Everyone has them.
No one can silence them.
No one can silence them.
And there's no way to get rid of them.
And there's no way to get rid of them. These are called feelings, emotions. Everybody's got emotions, everybody's got feelings. You can't silence them, you can't get rid of them. Everybody's got it, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do, the reason this is the answer is because next week's training, next week's training is going to be how to overcome your emotions, feelings, and stop being a little, you can add the word. And the reason I say this is because this is the one thing, man, that if you can get your team to figure this out too, it'll change your life. So many people go through life with just so many emotional decisions. It's insane, right? I'm going to eat this instead of that. I feel like I can't get out of bed. I feel like it's just so many feelings. And if I listened to my feelings all day, I would sleep in, eat pizza all day, right? Get on YouTube, fart around, watch some TV for lunch, eat a burger for lunch, If I listen to my feelings every day, I'd do a lot of stupid shit. It's the honest truth. And so many people listen to them. I don't feel good. I'm not happy right now. Things are so bad. Please stop. Listen to your feelings. Just, sometimes we're going to get emotional. Sometimes we're going to have some feelings. I understand that. But it can't dictate your life. And that's what we're going to talk about next week, how to get over that. Because if all your decisions are made on your feelings, if every single decision is made on your feelings, I can tell you how far you'll go in life. I can define your life. It'll be tragedy after pain, after suffering, after tragedy, after pain. It will never be a life of design. It will always be a life of suffering. Emotions don't get you very far. You just don't. I mean, if you ever watch Maury or Jerry Springer or any of those shows, all those people live on is emotions. It's all they do, all day, every day, and you don't want to be there. All right, so connect with me. Here's something you should do, though. If you want to get a copy of my book, if you haven't already got it, please go to david8pettis.com or get it on Amazon. But more importantly, if you like this presentation, there's some things I skipped because we just don't have the time. If you want to get this full presentation, want to get more about things like getting or building a team, please join our Path to Freedom membership. It's an online site. It's free for 30 days. Check it out. I got real estate investing, money management, credit repair, debt resolution, investment strategies, Robinhood, crypto, whatever you want to know, we're putting it in there for you to get the information that you need, especially if you're a business owner, talking about business formation, team building. There's just so many topics. I can go on and on, but just join it if you want. Let me make sure I don't have any questions. If I don't, guys, go join Path to Freedom. I really encourage you to do that. And that's it for this week's David's Deep Dive. If you guys need me for anything, please shoot me an email, text, or go to our website, visit me there. And thanks, guys. Have a fantastic and amazing day. Shut off.